Hello and welcome. Thank you for being here. My name is Zachary Keith with Fitness Simplified, and in this video, we're going to take a brief but comprehensive enough review of athletic greens, the greens powder that has taken over really every major podcast, whether it's a health podcast or not. And so, specifically, the three main things that I want to talk about are athletic greens' nutrition info as stated by the nutrition label, potential athletic greens alternatives, and then go over the cost of what it would cost you to regularly use athletic greens as a supplement. Now, starting off with their nutrition info, again, as stated by their own nutrition label, I am currently looking at the label itself, and I'm going to work to display it on the video here itself. So, starting off, looking at the actual nutrition info in regard to what nutrients are in it, it really isn't all that indistinguishable from a normal multivitamin. However, I would even go as far to say that most multivitamins are going to be a bit more comprehensive. So for example, you might notice that there is no vitamin D in the product. Conveniently, they do happen to sell a separate vitamin D that they will try to upsell you on as you go through the checkout process. But nevertheless, they market themselves as being the foundational nutritional supplement, or the nutritional supplement to cover your bases. And they don't really seem to sufficiently, so to speak, cover your bases. I also want to note that really no supplement is ever going to cover your bases as far as nutrition goes. And the research on most multivitamins at that is quite unimpressive, more unimpressive than people, I think, realize. But that's a topic for another conversation. The real problem that I have with athletic greens, and it's a problem that I have with any supplement company that uses this strategy, is if you noticed the three big paragraphs that are labeled as complexes on the right side of the label. Underneath each complex, they have a laundry list of different plants that sound all great and fancy, and then they give the dose of the complex itself, but not the dose of the individual constituents of the complex. Now, depending on the company that is doing this, in this case, Athletic Greens calls them complexes. Sometimes they call them proprietary blends. But the strategy from the supplement company is the same nonetheless. And what it is that they're doing by doing this is they are attempting to not tell you the dose of any of the constituent ingredients within these complexes. Now, there's a few things in here that I would say do have some efficacy as far as the evidence is concerned, in regard to that they can be health promoting or performance enhancing. Ashwagandha is in the nutrient dense extracts, herbs, and antioxidant complex. But if you don't know the dose you're taking of it, then you're not really going to do much with that at all. And that's true for pretty much everything, not everything, because not everything within these complexes is truly efficacious or helpful at all. But the things that are within these complexes, you need to know the dose if you want to get the benefit that you seek to get from those products. Oftentimes, when companies use things like complexes or proprietary blends, that one's a bit of a tongue twister. They will list the product that you're after, whether it's ashwagandha, whether it's whatever, and then they will severely underdose the ashwagandha or whatever it is, and overdose the other stuff that isn't quite as helpful or as costly for them to add. And that is how they will, bulk up the total dose of the complex. So bottom line, as far as these complexes go, some of the stuff within the complexes could be good. Some of the stuff isn't quite so much. Nevertheless, the dose of none of them, and the dose is just as important as the product itself. However, that's not really where it ends as far as my opinion is concerned. If you were to add up the total amount of all of the complexes within this product, you would come up to a total of 10 grams of greens, which really is nothing. 1 cup of spinach is 25 grams, and 1 cup of spinach really isn't all that much, or does it cost anything at all? Really not. With fruit and vegetable or plant intake at all, there is a strong dose dependency where the more fruits and vegetables you eat, the more potent the health outcomes that people tend to receive. And so 10 grams of greens isn't going to do shit for you. Much less is it going to cover your bases or build your foundation, whatever the hell that's supposed to mean. So, all in all, as far as the nutrition label itself is concerned, the nutrition facts of athletic greens are not just unimpressive, but a bit misleading. So that said, let's take a quick look at the Athletic Greens cost and pricing. So as you go through their website, there's a couple different ways you can purchase. You can do a single purchase of a single pouch for $99, which does not include shipping. You can subscribe to order one pouch monthly, and the price then becomes $79, again, not including shipping. Or you can subscribe to get two pouches monthly, and the cost of there will come out to $149 for both those pouches, again, not including shipping. And just to put that into perspective, it seems as though one pouch is going to cover someone using it daily for about 1 month. Now, as far as supplements go, this is pretty pricey. So if you were to choose the $79 single pouch monthly recurring subscription option, that would come out to over $1,000 a year. And if you did the two pouches per month, that would be almost $2,000 a year. Now, to put into perspective how pricey that is, I like to compare this to creatine, specifically Bare Performance Nutrition's creatine. Now, Athletic Greens does not have a creatine, so I should probably explain why I'm going to compare it to creatine. The reason I'd like to make this comparison is because creatine is one of the most highly studied supplement available. I think caffeine actually has more research on it, but nevertheless, it's a pretty neck and neck as far as total publications on the product go. There is really no supplement that has as strong of evidence for creatine, as creatine does really, in really a whole body kind of scenario, whether it's now seemingly cognitive function, athletic performance, hydration status, etc. So a cost comparison to creatine is worthwhile because it illustrates the difference in price between Athletic Greens and a product that is guaranteed to bring you benefits as far as supplements go. Now, a single purchase of BPN's creatine cost $35, and each tub at a normal dose of 5 grams per day will last you about 2 months. So you divide that by two, and you come out to about $17.50 per month, which is $81.50 less per month than what you would pay with Athletic Greens. And again, just to reiterate, that is $81.50 less per month for a product that is pretty much as guaranteed as it gets to bring you performance and health benefits than for the more expensive product that is unsure, to say the least. Now, to be clear, I have no financial affiliation with any supplement company. I only chose BPN's creatine because one, it's third-party tested. Two, it is from CreaPure, which is widely considered the highest quality creatine manufacturer, and it is just creatine alone in the bottle. So, that's why I chose that as the comparator. Another thing, I always forget to mention this, but I have kind of made a few claims upon which there is some evidence I intend to use to back that. The accompanying article that will be going along with this video, I will link below. All of the references that I seek to support my claims, I will cite next to the claims in which they seek to support. So if you want to fact check anything I'm saying or look more deeply into anything I'm saying, hopefully that helps you out in terms of finding, which claim is meaning to support which reference is meaning to support which claim. Now, even though I did just do a good bit of bashing, let's say, to Athletic Greens, that isn't to say that you shouldn't strive to hit a sufficient intake of your vitamins, your minerals, your phytonutrients, your prebiotics, etc. However, there is not just cheaper ways to go about this, but significantly more effective ways to do it. Now, to stay within the realm of supplements specifically, a multivitamin would be a much cheaper and probably more effective path to go down. Even that, like I said, the evidence on multivitamin supplementation specifically really isn't all that great. That will be a topic of another video. But if you want some sort of supplement like this, a good multivitamin would be a much better pick. However, whether you are taking a multivitamin or a greens powder, it should not change the fact that you should strive to eat at least 5 servings of different fruits and vegetables every single day. The recommended number you'll see will vary by source, but the 5 is a good general recommendation as far as I'm concerned. And really the bottom line is that no supplement can really fill the gap that is left behind by not meeting this. And it does seem to me that a lot of people will opt for something like Athletic Greens. One, maybe because it's just easier to drink, granted, whatever. But two, there's another camp that perceives things like Athletic Greens to be cheaper. And really, this is just disconnected from reality. As kind of an exaggerated example, the cost of one pouch of Athletic Greens could buy you about 100 onions, which is a lot of onions. So my point in saying that is that if you are a person who is spending money regularly on something like athletic greens, or at least, let's say a greens powder multivitamin-esque supplement of that similar cost, if you removed that cost, you would then free up enough of your budget to dedicate towards the purchases of regular fruits and vegetables. So to wrap this video up, Athletic Greens is really more a lesson in marketing than it is good nutrition. It is not a product that I would really recommend to anyone. Even if you want a supplement like that, there are much cheaper and probably better ways to do it. But nevertheless, supplements like that will never replace, as cliche as it is, just regular fruit and vegetable intake. There's no getting around that. You might as well just make that a regular habit of yours now. So I'm going to end this video here. Thank you for being here. I appreciate your time, and I will see you next time.